Welcome back to the Python course. So in today's lecture, we will try to see a library that is used much in Python. Okay, so this is a library that will be quite handy for an engineer, and even if you're planning to learn on machine learning, etc. This library is a basic library you need to understand for doing all such things. Okay, so the library we are talking about is called NumPy, okay, or NumPy. So basically, I think it stands for numerical Python. So what NumPy does is NumPy has many functionalities like inbuilt function, etc., which can be used for many mathematical operations. Okay, so basically NumPy, it's first of all we can generate or we can create arrays using NumPy. Okay, in Python we saw that we can have a like a array, like we can use a list for that purpose, but the same thing could be done using NumPy also. The advantage is NumPy, it's much faster than the Python list. Okay, so if you were to create two big arrays using NumPy as well as Python list, then and if you have to perform some mathematical operations over the entire array, then in 95 or most of the time, your NumPy array would perform much better than the original Python list. Okay, so we'll just see how we can create an array, and then how to get some characteristics of the array. Okay, so first of all, whenever you are importing a library in Python, we do or we type import, then the library name, and we can also add a optional like a alias or like a different name for it. Okay, so numpy as np. So whenever we need to use the numpy library or a function from numpy library, we don't have to type the whole numpy as such. We can just use np. Okay, so here you can see it's written as np.array. Okay, that means the array function is called from the numpy library. Okay, so this import is similar to your hash include in C or C++, right? Okay, so here we are creating a two-dimensional array. So our elements will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this has 2 rows and 3 column. Okay, so notice how it is created. So we write np.array. Okay, that's the function to create the array, and then inside the like the normal bracket, we we are giving the list. Okay, we are inputting a Python list actually, right? So this is a Python list. So inside this bracket, or as the argument to numpy.array, we are giving a Python list in this case. Okay, there are different methods of creating array in numpy. We will be seeing them one by one. For now we'll just see how to use np.array function. Okay, so this array will be stored into a variable called arr. Okay, and if you want, we can see what's the type of arr, and here we'll see the number of dimensions. Okay, so we'll print it and we'll see what it means. Then here we are printing the shape of the array. Okay, and then here we are printing the size of the array, and here we are printing the element types of the array. Okay, so let's just run it, and then we will see what are the outputs, right? Okay, so we get our output here. So the first, the type of arr, the variable arr is a numpy.nd array. Okay, n dimensional array, because it's not just a two-dimensional array that you can create using numpy. You can have multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, so that structure, like that data type, is known as nd array or n dimensional arrays. Okay, so so that's the type of the variable arr or array variable, and then we are printing the dimensions. Okay, so since this is a two-dimensional array, since you had 2 rows and 3 columns, so this is a two-dimensional array. So n dim, okay, n dimension, that gives the number of dimensions. Okay, so in this case that will be 2. And if you need to print the shape, okay, so that is if you want to get the number of rows and number of columns in this two-dimensional array, we can write array or arr dot shape. Okay, so that returns actually a tuple. Okay, so if you are getting this 2 comma 3 inside like this bracket, it means you are getting a tuple. And if you want to access the first number of row, that is the number 2, you just have to write like in bracket, square bracket, you can just give the index 0. Okay, so that will access the first element from this tuple. Okay, and then array dot size gives the actual total size of the matrix or array. Since we had 2 rows and 3 columns, so 2 by 3, that's 6 elements. Okay, and then we are printing the element of, or sorry, type of element. Okay, so in this case it's a integer. Okay, in numpy it's we have either 64-bit integers or 32-bit integers, etc., but we don't have to go into such details for now. So all the elements like the 1 2 3 4 5 6 etc., they belong to the data type int 64. Okay, now let's see how to access a element in numpy. So if you want, we can write array 0 comma 0. Okay, so um, remember, in if this was a Python list, we would have written in this manner. Okay, 0, then again another bracket, and then 0. Okay, but in numpy you can just simply write 0 comma 0, and that will be the first row first column element. Okay, and then we can also get the shape of the element or shape of the array by just typing dot shape. So we saw it earlier. So here we will be getting two values, right? So if I'm using two variables here, number of rows and number of columns, then I'll get the first value that is returned by array dot shape into number, and the second value, that will be the column number. Okay, that to n column. So we are getting two variables here, so we are storing that into two variables, and I do that because I need to print the whole array using a for loop. Okay, so for printing or for accessing the variables inside a for loop, what I do is I have a nested loop because I have a two-dimensional array. Okay, so the first for loop will be to go through the rows, and the second one will be to go through the each column in that particular row. Okay, so we start with the for I in range n row. So if you have two rows, the value of I will be 0 and 1. Okay, and the inside that for loop we go to the next one. Okay, for j in range n column. So what I'm doing here is I'm printing the value, but in Python, whenever you print, when it when the next print statement comes up, it usually gives an ender. Okay, it goes to a new line. Okay, so I needed to avoid that so that I can print it in the form of a matrix. So that's why I'm just giving end equal to space. Okay, that means I will be leaving a little bit space, and then I'm printing the next element. Okay, and once that loop is complete, so inside the first loop itself I'm writing print slash n. Okay, so that will go to a new line, that's called as new line character. So it's similar to pressing a enter on your keyboard. Okay, so once the first row is written, I am printing a new line character so that the print statement starts from the next line. Okay, so let's just run and see. Yeah, so here the first line accessing a single element, so we are accessing 0 comma 0, and in our case that was element, or the element was 1. Okay, so that will be printed here, and the whole array, it will be printed like 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I'm just printing as a like a 2 by 3 matrix. Okay, so I hope that's understood how to print the whole numpy array. And here you had noticed that we are just writing I comma j, where I is the row index and j will be the column index. Okay, and yeah, so let's just see how to create some numpy arrays. Okay, so many times you don't have to give the whole list as it is. Okay, you don't want to give it as a list and create a array from that list, but there are other methods, so let's see them. So I'm just declaring a function here. Okay, and this function, what it does is it just simply prints the array in this particular format. Okay, so this is exact the same code written here. Okay, so whenever I'm calling array underscore p for print, okay, and I'm passing a array, what it does is it gets the shape, and then there are two for loops, one for the row and one for the column, and then I'm just printing the array. Okay, so we can see all this created array, and I don't have to repeat the code. Okay, that's why I'm just using a simple function there. Okay, so let's first see the simplest one. So if you want to create a array with just zeros, okay, we'll be filling it with zeros, and so I'm just creating np dot zeros. That's the function, and then inside bracket I'm giving a tuple 3 comma 4. Okay, that is the size of the array. Okay, or the dimensions, right? So this array will have 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay, and I'm saying the data type should be integer 32, so that will be a 32-bit integer. Okay, you don't have to worry too much about 32-bit and 64-bit. At least for the time being, there is no distinction that really matters to you. Okay, so if you are interested, you can just google it, and yeah, you can see what it is. But I'm just giving it as dtype dot dtype or data type equal to int 32. If I don't give that, then it will be treated as a decimal or a float. Okay, so if I don't give this dtype equal to int 32, then by default the value or data type will be float only. Okay, so here I'm just printing the this created array. Okay, so that's why I just wrote the function like that, so I can easily print it without writing the for loop again and again. So that was the first one, creating zeros. And here we are creating array by filling it with just random numbers. Okay, so that is done in this manner. So inside numpy there is a function called random, and inside random there is another function again called random. Okay, so numpy dot random, then again you are giving the tuple as 2 comma 3. Okay, so that is the size, 2 rows and 3 column, and we'll see how it is printed. And then if I need to print array with just ones, okay, instead of zeros I'm creating an array with ones only. In that case I'm writing np dot ones 2 comma 3, and notice that I'm not giving a d type equal to anything over here. Okay, so by default I should be getting a float array. Okay, so let's just run and see. So the first one, we had the array with zeros, integers, and we had 3 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so here you can see there are 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. Okay, so we get a 3 by 4 array with zeros filled in. Okay, and then random array, so that the size was 2 comma 3, 2 rows and 3 column. So here you can see the numbers, it's just filled with random numbers. Okay, and these random numbers always lie between 0 and 1. Okay, unless specified. The default setting for random function is to generate a number between 0 and 1. Okay, so if you run the code again, these numbers will change. Okay, because these are random numbers and they will be generated differently in every time you run the code. Okay, and here again we are seeing the np dot ones. Okay, 2 comma 3, so 2 rows and 3 columns filled with 1. And but here I didn't mention the data type to be int something, so I'm getting 1.0, okay, instead of 1. Okay, so these are just some of the methods. There are others also which with which you can create a numpy array. Okay, so if you come across some particular need, then you can simply google and you will get a option for creating array using some other different method. Okay, and here we'll see how to reshape an array. Okay, reshape in the sense, suppose we have a 3 by 4 array. Okay, so we had 3 rows and 4 columns, so that is 12 elements in all. Okay, and if you want, we can reshape that to an array of size 2 by 6. Okay, so 2 by 6 will be again 12 elements. So what you have to make sure is that the array array size to which you are reshaping, that should also contain the same number of elements. Okay, so you can either create a 4 by 3 from 3 by 4, or you can create a 2 by 6 or a 6 by 2 or a 12 by 1, anything. Okay, but the total element size should be, number of elements should be 12. Okay, so here I'm just creating the array numpy.0, and then here I'm just reshaping it. Okay, so the function is a dot reshape, the array a dot reshape, and I give the new size. Okay, so that's 2 comma 6. So if you run it, we get initially the array was size 3 by 4. Now that same array will be transferred to a 2 by 6 array. Okay, so you can give some values and you can see how the arrangement happens. You can just try it out yourself. Okay, so maybe I will stop the video for now. I don't want to create videos that are too long. Okay, so I will continue this video or this topic in the next video. Okay, so we'll stop for now. Thank you for watching.